So let's just see how we can calculate factorial using recursion in Python. So as we know, factorial of any number is the multiplication of all the positive numbers less than equal that number. Like an example, factorial of 3 will be 3 times 2 times 1, which is 6. So let's just see how we can calculate this factorial of a number using the recursion. So recursion means whenever a function calls itself, then this is called recursion. Like an example, suppose we have one function. Now if the function calls itself from within the function, then that is called the recursive call. So here we are calculating the factorial of the number. So this is the normal approach to find the factorial of any given number. Now let's see how we can calculate factorial of any number using the recursion. So let's now convert this to the recursive approach. So first of all, we have to define one base case. So the base case is if the value of the number equals 0, then we're gonna return 1 because the factorial of 0 is 1. So otherwise we're gonna return n multiplied by, now we're gonna call the function itself with the parameter n minus 1. So here within this function we are calling this function, so that is why this is called recursion. So in every iteration, first of all it will check for the base case. So if the number is not 0, then it will return n times, and then it will call the function itself with n minus 1. So this way the recursion will continue until it reaches the base case where it will return 1. So here we're gonna call the factorial function and we're gonna pass the number 3. So here is the factorial is 6. Now let's just find the factorial of the number 4. So here the factorial is 24. So let's just see how the code is working. So we're gonna take the example of the factorial 3. So we're basically calling the factorial function with the parameter 3. First of all, it will check for the base case. So because the value of n is not 0, so it will return n times and it will call the function itself. So it will basically return 3 times and then it will call itself with n minus 1, so it will call with the parameter 2. And then again in the next recursive call, it will check for the base case because n is not 0, so it will return another function called stack and it will return n times and it will call the function itself with n minus 1, which is 1. So in the next function call, first of all it will check for the base case. So because n is not 0, so it will return 1 times and it will again call the function itself with the parameter n minus 1. So 1 minus 1 is 0. So because this time, because the value of n is 0, so this function call will return the value 1 because the base case n is 0. So this 1 will be multiplied with this one and their result will be returned right here in that function call. So here it will return 1 and then 2 and 1 will be multiplied and the result 2 will be returned in this function call, and then 3 and 2 will be multiplied and then we're gonna get the final output, which is 6. So that is the factorial of the number 3. So this way the function calls itself recursively with a new parameter, and in every call it creates a new call stack, and then whenever it reaches the base case, then it returns the value and ultimately all of them will be multiplied one after another and we get to see the final output. So this way we can use recursion, which simplifies the process of factorial computation. So hope you understand the concept. See you in the next one. Take care.